Church of Scientology so afraid of?
This is SPTV.
Back now to Lisa Fletcher's report on two women who left Scientology, including a niece of the church's worldwide leader.
Jenna Miscavige Hill, a niece of David Miscavige, Scientology's leader, and Astra Woodcraft, grew up in the church. But Astra's father, Lawrence, wanted out. He says he felt that wasn't an option.
You'll be declared a suppressive person and then you'll never speak to your family again.
Suppressive person, or SP, is church lingo for someone who is anti-Scientology, or in their terms, seeks to suppress any betterment activity or group. Tom Cruise referenced SPs in that leaked Scientology video.
So, like, have you met an SP? I looked at them, and I thought, oh, what a beautiful thing, because maybe one day it'll be like that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe one day it will be that. Wow, SPs, like, they'll just read about those in the history books,
If you leave without permission, they declare you a suppressive person, and they make your family and all your friends, anyone in Scientology who knows you, they make them disconnect from you.
Despite the risk of being labeled an SP, Lawrence says he couldn't take it anymore. He left the church. He and his wife divorced.
I was told I couldn't see my father anymore because he wasn't in the Sea Org.
She wasn't ever supposed to see me, but she would sneak out and come and see me on Friday morning.
We had a few hours we were given to do our laundry, and I used to sneak off to see him.
There's a little bit of a problem. Yes, you guys, that's right. We used to sneak around and see our parents, me included. Matter of fact, on Saturday mornings, I used to leave the Hacienda Gardens pretending that I was going to go for a run. And in fact, I would run to my parents' house that lived close by to the Hacienda Gardens, not while I was in the hole. For 2 years, I had no contact. For 2 years, it was impossible. But after I graduated Debbie Cook's hole, then I started doing this, what Astra's talking about, sneaking around and seeing my parents. And, I got in trouble, in ethics trouble for that. Imagine that.
Problem in getting people to talk critically about the Church of Scientology, because quite frankly, they're scared.
Oh, no.
Well,
no.
In 1992, Nightline's Ted Koppel did the one and only network television interview with Jenna's uncle, David Miscavige, where he challenged him about the church's policies.
They, who do not belong to any organization, are quite frankly afraid to come out and speak.
Well, I'm sorry. That story doesn't hold water, because I'll tell you, from my perspective, the person getting harassed is myself and the church.
Yeah, David, sure. You're being harassed. You are being harassed by kids that you enslaved. So make that make sense, given that we are, David, in case you haven't noticed, we literally are in this year 2023, and you stop giving interviews after your outrageously ineffective AF press tour, where you really thought it was going to be in your best interest to go blab your mouth and defend the indefensible, right? So after you saw that you couldn't just defend the indefensible anymore, and that there was no way of defending the indefensible, now you're nowhere to be found, not even to be served for civil, federal, child trafficking lawsuits. But I'm sure that even today, you're still telling yourself that the kids that you and your cohorts signed up in your sham, fraudulent, coerced, billion-year contract from literal hell, it's really you who's getting harassed. It's really you who's inconvenient. Wah, wah, wah. Go, literally go like this 1,000,000 times and see if anybody around literally cares that a full-grown man such as yourself, David, wants to blame kids for the inconvenient things that hit your lines over there at RTC. Y'all that are the very top of this food chain doing the most disgusting, unthinkable things to kids. It's you and your little Ann Rathbun and your little Marty Rathbun and all of the other juniors of yours that literally did have to prove themselves being that deranged in order to be around you. So let's just start with that fact right there. Since you're nowhere to be found to give a shred of an interview now, and now you really don't want to defend the record because you're, too important doing L. Ron Hubbard's bidding. Well, David, just in case you don't know, your own daddy trafficked you to L. Ron Hubbard. Just so you know, just so you have that information inside your brain. As of today, know that all the things you thought were so great about L. Ron Hubbard were just a bunch of pathetic BS pitches. That, yes, even you, the supposed know-it-all, the supposed mighty leader of this hotel disgusting chain operation, institutionally child trafficking kids at scale from all over the world, is still relying on the false pitch of indicted convicted felon in absentia, L. Ron Hubbard. It would be great for you, David, to start typing an IG network bulletin to make it really make sense to us, the kids, that you had enslaved in that hotel, along with Debbie Cook, along with Dave Pettit from CC Int, along with every last shred of captain that you have managing your child trafficking hotels that stink, that reek of corruption, that reek of dirt. So maybe double check your pitch. Maybe check it out and see if in this year, 2023, you can do more than this. Because apparently that's all you're able to do. Deflect and project. Those are your two little modes, you guys. You heard it here. David Miscavige, what does he do? Wah, wah, wah. Deflect and project. You're a full-grown man now, David, and you're still operating on Ron Miscavige's and L. Ron Hubbard's false pitch. So look in a mirror, realize it's the year 2023, and ask yourself, what in the literal hell am I doing? And why is Angie Blankenship, Marty Rathbun, and Debbie Cook cashing checks to keep their mouths shut? Answer those questions for yourself real quick. Start.
Been like 8 years old. We were all told to watch it. We like never watched TV. So we were like, oh, yay, watch TV.
What is it you can do for me?
Well, number one, I would never try to talk you into that Scientology is for you. You see,
I
that's
remember,
what I'm
my parents saying, yeah, he did so good in that interview. When Ted Koppel said negative things about the church, he discredited them in his mind.
But Jenna says the good relationship she had enjoyed with her uncle would turn sour. She says one day when she was 14,
I got in trouble for chit-chatting when I was supposed to be studying, and I wanted to call my parents. They hung up the phone, and I was like, no, I want to call my parents. I tried to run to the other payphone to call them, and they were like, no, people were physically stopping me. Basically, I got held down by like 3 people. I had punched one of them because they were doing that.
Shortly thereafter, she says she was confronted.
I mean, guys, it's not an exaggeration that these payphones and these phones that they had inside these facilities were heavily monitored. I mean, at Flag, they literally had someone listening 24/7 to the phone lines. They could see what people were saying. They wanted to know. That is how they crisis managed. That is how they stayed on top of things. Right, Debbie Cook, or wrong? Because people would pull us off the phones and force us not to call our parents, not to call anyone else outside. And it was done by force. So even Jenna here had to defend herself as a literal child because she was being stopped from calling her parents. So you, Monique Yingling, shout out to you, who still would love to pitch your hotels, disgusting child trafficking hotels, as whatever in the hell you think you're going to get away with pitching in this year 2023. And Monique, your pitch couldn't be more pathetic. Your pitch couldn't be more disgusting. In this year 2023, literally all the receipts we got on you and David and every one last of those executives that you did take it upon yourself to hire as so-called volunteers, Monique. Because let's not forget, you guys, these people went around recruiting, according to Monique Yingling, according to how she pitches, volunteers. Debbie Cook volunteered to do the job she was doing for 17 years. Marty Rathbun volunteered to do the job he was doing for as many years as Marty Rathbun was being the DIG, Inspector General for Ethics, you guys. And once again, what was Marty's qualifications to be a Deputy Inspector of Ethics? To go around telling their kids that their parents were nothing but pathetic, disgusting suppressives and doing all manner of parental alienation. As Marty still pitches this as, yeah, we were doing some indoctrination and we were doing some, handlings. Your pathetic hotel handlings, Marty, were a delusion that you fed yourself, an infantile delusion that you were apparently too stupid to tell what in the hell you were doing. Apparently you were so goo-goo gaga for L. Ron Hubbard that no matter how disgusting and ridiculous the pitches from L. Ron Hubbard came to you, you were there to defend them. You were there to say, yes, sir, like a pathetic yes man that you always were.
Confronted by her uncle.
What you did is unacceptable. You're not going to get any more special treatment. I was like, if special treatment means being held down and not being allowed to talk to your family, then I am happy to be rid of it.
So
And yes, you guys, these executives, the handlers of Jenna, would run on Jenna. That wasn't she so special? Wasn't she so special to get special treatment? And she was, willing to get rid of this special treatment because the special treatment could have been more like gaslighting from hell packaged in a toxic pill that we were being forced to swallow against our will, given that we didn't have a shred of consent to do anything in those hotels, Monique Yingling. So yet again, shout out to attorney Monique Yingling. Start making it make sense to us as adults, Monique. You made this make sense when we were kids. When we were kids, Monique, you and Dave and, Debbie Cook and Marty Rathbun that ran around in their, military cosplay clown uniforms that they did take it upon themselves to wear every day. Since they had not a shred of authority to be doing what they did, they relied on clown cosplaying uniforms. That they did take very serious their position. Trust me. These people, you guys, couldn't have been more serious about their clownery. There's no more serious clowns you can find that in the circus of this disgusting dysfunction playing here all over the public record that has not been stopped, all over the public record that has been enabled with all manner of adults, infantilized, self-infantilized adults that decided it would be a very religious experience for the kids if all of the adults all of a sudden decided to become infantile degenerates and then turn around, double down, triple down, and make all of the kids adults in small bodies. So adulticize the kids and infantilize the adults. In what world, Monique, does that work? Please immediately write us something that starts explaining in the world that works. Given since you did take it upon yourselves to give us a front row seat at your disgusting hotel culture from hell. So today would be a great day to type that email and figure out in what kind of writing skills from your legal profession you could tap to make all of this indefensible, disgusting dysfunction start making sense. To make all these receipts that we got, Monique, that are not matching whatsoever. What we were told wasn't true. The fact is, we were coerced, we were defrauded, and we were made to think that, yes, as minors, we had all the power in the world to consent, to be enslaved, to have our passports taken by these executives, to have them locked up, because that would be just a great idea. You know, let's not lose them, you guys. They're such valuable documents. Right, Debbie Cook? Aren't they passports of minors and kids? The hundreds of passports that you did take it upon yourself to have people like, you know, Astra's mom, Leslie Woodcraft, that did work in HCO, go collect all the valuable documents. How many staff meetings did you take it upon yourself, Debbie Cook, to announce, hi guys, we just want to remind you that passports are very valuable documents and HCO does need to have that for themselves. So if you have not given your passport, please stay behind after this muster and see Leslie Woodcraft and see Annalisa Scapini, the chief staff MAA, because she really wants to help you keep that document very, very secure under lock and key. Matter of fact, that's where we need them to be. Because that will deter you from wanting to blow. That will deter you from, you know, committing a criminal act of blowing, breaking your building your contract, since your contract is very binding. So let's start really clarifying all of that stuff that's making not a shred of sense in this year 2023, Monique. That would be great. We really look forward to that.
Celebrity Center International is a Scientology church located in Hollywood, California. It is aptly named, as many Hollywood celebrities are members of the church. Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes, John Travolta, and Kirstie Alley.
I had one auditing session in Scientology, and I never did drugs again or had the urge to do drugs again.
Here we go with Actress of the Year, the late Kirstie Alley. The late Kirstie Alley, that says she never did drugs ever again, thanks to Scientology. Well, Kirstie, if that's not the false pitch of a lifetime, and, you know, your little handlers at Celebrity Center know very, very well how much trouble you, Kirstie Alley, had with the drugs, with the drugs that you claim you never took ever again. Well, you guys, Kirstie Alley's lying, and she definitely took drugs. She definitely took drugs. And we're going to be bringing receipts in the near future that are going to contextualize just what a false pitch Christy Alley just said to everyone, how she didn't take any drugs since Scientology. You guys, she was taking drugs in Scientology. And I'm sure that, Dave Pettit could go on the record and tell us if, there was any kind of drug consumption at Celebrity Center, Dave Pettit. By chance, do you remember the reports of Christy Alley having a drug issue inside of the Celebrity Center? Do you remember those reports at all, Dave Pettit? Because it'd be great for you to refresh your memory about that. And if you don't remember, Dave, go ask the president's office at Celebrity Center and ask him, hey, did we ever handle Christy Alley's drug problem, or will she keep reverting to drugs? What happened there? Take it upon yourselves to dig up the records of the late Christy Alley. And, shout out to ABC News, who again, for the 13th quadrillion time, has pitched us the celebrities that are definitely involved with Scientology ad nauseum, because none of us know who's involved, right, guys? Every segment ABC News does. Here's ABC News again. Shout out to Disney. Shout out to ABC News, who's definitely on the story, you guys. They really care about the story, and they want to expose a lot of things, but they want to expose everything without exposing anything. So shout out to your stupidity, ABC News. Oh, and here's an audit. So just so you guys see how they look like, and just so you see an auditor literally typing, literally writing contemporaneously what the man in front of him might be answering to, including to, but not limited to, have you committed any felonies or crimes for which you have not been arrested? So CCFBI, when y'all at the FBI can start really answering why it is okay for people like this man here being shown to everyone have a very special place in these hotels where that man can very much answer that question, admit to any last shred of Class A felony, only for these people to monetize that felony. So when that starts making sense, since that is the brilliancy of the technology of indicted and convicted felon in absentia, L. Ron Hubbard, it'd be great to hear from the FBI and the IRS commissioner too, quite frankly, IRS commissioner, that's sleeping at the wheel on the job, could not care any less what they did back in 1993, you guys. Given since I was abducted into this disgusting hotel operation 2 months after the IRS commissioner said that, yeah, never mind that these people owed $1 billion of back taxes, which they refused to pay. Let's forgive them that $1 billion little bill, and let's also let them go abduct minors from any country around the world that they feel like doing that. So when the IRS commissioner can start explaining that in his statement to all of the taxpayers, the American taxpayers, IRS commissioner, that you're forcing, without informed consent, forcing to subsidize this 501c sham from hell, where legal malpractice is done on a daily basis, because we literally can, kid you not, a 2-week course at these hotels can land you in front of a child that is going to be helping you out on any type of Class A felonies you want to really take it upon yourself to admit to in full. I mean, Debbie Cook's hotel will come up with a ethics handling is what they're calling it. So that, just like magic, everything floats. Isn't L. Ron Hubbard amazing? Literally.
Auditing is a fundamental and common practice in Scientology. It's a kind of counseling session in which a person is asked a series of questions.
Here you go, guys. Again, this grooming salon, okay, with all these people doing all these things right in front of everyone. So just so that we're clear, everyone at the FBI, it's all done like this. It's all groomed like this. It cannot be wrong. It cannot be illegal because we're all doing it in front of each other. And, you know, since we are all doing it in front of each other, never mind that nobody else is really having eyes in those course rooms, you guys. Anytime anybody had eyes in those course rooms, everything was literally made a performance. The very few times we did have a couple of inspections, we were told, the IRS auditors are coming, you guys. Prepare yourselves because we are going to walk around a little bit. And if they come around your space, make sure you smile. Make sure you pretend everything is just Gucci. I mean, ask Debbie Cook, you guys, if she didn't prepare herself for the audits. And if they didn't have full control and full knowing ahead of time if anybody was going to show up. Because ask them if anybody was allowed to go inside those course rooms and just inspect for themselves without being qualified. Because we would love to understand what other churches out there do not allow a single visitor without being vetted, without being interrogated, and without answering if they've committed any felonies for which they have not been arrested, which is the A to J interview. And you guys, you cannot get eyes in these grooming salons if you have not passed the A to J check. Literally, this is what it was called, you guys. A to J check. Okay, and the check mark, that's how they would abbreviate it, so they wouldn't even have to write check. But yeah, this is a J here. A to J check. Have you committed any felonies or crimes for which you have not been arrested? Are you doing anything illegal with your taxes? Why are children asking that question of adults? Yo, Debbie Cook, in between check cashing that you're doing from Monique Yingling, maybe take it upon yourself to type that email to all of your Scientology public that loved you so much. Oh yeah, Debbie Cook, the email of Debbie Cook woke us all up and nothing changed because she's still just cashing checks for her own convenience, you guys. Debbie Cook has literally not come clean a shred. Debbie Cook has been given paperclip withholds. Remember those, Debbie Cook? Paper clip withholds. And what in the hell are paperclip withholds? Paperclip withholds, you guys, are the things that Debbie Cook has used, the things that Meredith Rathman has used to purport that they're really coming clean. And you know, David beat us up. And we were just having a jolly old time in the hotel when David wasn't beating us. But, you know, when that happened and it really, you know, ruined the fun. Right or wrong, Debbie Cook, since you really were happy there and all. I mean, it's all over the public record how happy this woman was at these hotels, you guys.
Negative feelings and thoughts are identified and hopefully purged through the use of what's called an e-meter.
You just basically
and hopefully purged. So yet again, ABC News, that they didn't do a shred of due diligence, that, you know, instead of opening a book for themselves, studying what L. Ron Hubbard was pitching, everything is in writing, you guys. These reporters are just lazy AF. They don't want to pick up the book for themselves. They don't want to do a course from L. Ron Hubbard. They don't want to understand the subject they're purporting to investigate. But they are willing to recycle whatever in the hell pitch they're given about what it is that these sessions are. Counseling sessions is how they just pitched it yet again. Counseling sessions where we were being asked if we ever raped anyone and that we can leave the room. Sit down, hold the cans. I mean, Jenna already went on the record even yesterday at the live with Aaron Smith-Levin and talked about how she was physically being restrained to stay in the chair. And she wasn't the only one that happened to, you guys. This was the standard operating procedure to do to children. If the child didn't like it, do it more. If the child complains, double down. If the child says he doesn't like it, triple down and tell him to shut the hell up and tell you what are they withholding from you. If the child doesn't understand what in the hell you are talking about, pretend they do. Just tell them they're an adult in a small body and stop dramatizing being a kid. So again, CC Monique Yingling, please let us know, Monique, why were children being told that they were adults in small bodies? And why were children being held in bondage in these disgusting role play sessions, strapped to a machine that they were told they couldn't move, strapped to a machine where they were told they couldn't have a shred of a privacy because that was going to be extremely therapeutic? I mean, leave it to ABC News to give us that false, ridiculous pitch out of the other side of their mouth as they are getting access to Astra and Jenna, as they do had it at that time already on the public record, you guys, that, you know, everything that Astra and Zoe Woodcraft already had discussed in detail. So for ABC News to get the story so wrong, for them to botch this so badly, because they only care about their clicks and their advertising money and exposing not a shred of facts. So they're just being called out for their utter glibness and false pitch. That, yes, believe it or not, in this year 2023, no one goes on the record and corrects their BS pitches. Because I guess we really should be, you know, tapping ABC News, the liars that water down everything to, you know, really resolve things of what is going on in this situation, instead of just sensationalizing it for themselves, coming up with the formula of what the legal department of their news center was going to be comfortable to really make it a very well-balanced segment, you guys. This is how the segments want to be done in these news stations, because everything is so alleged. And, you know, 5 decades later, we cannot corroborate anything. We cannot see all the affidavits that have been done, that are on the public record, that are GTS away. Everything is there, right? But these news segment people just don't want to do any work. They literally want to do not a shred of heavy lifting whatsoever.
Basically hold 2 cans, and I think they measure electrical resistance. They have a whole list of prepared questions. You know, are you withholding anything?
So here's 2 students of mine here. Brandon Wu is right there, you guys. This guy who was definitely a minor when he arrived at Flag. So let's just make sure that that's clear for the record. And then this other man who, let me see, who is that? Yeah, that's a Feshbach. One of those gazillionaires of Scientology, a Feshbach doing a drill with Brandon Wu. And the girl that's next to Matt Feshbach, between the red sweater lady that's all the way in the back, that was another minor from another one of these orgs, an outer org trainee. I don't remember her name, but she was another one of these very young, definitely under 21 kids that were trafficked into these hotels on Debbie Cook's orders, because Debbie Cook got told by whoever in the hell, Angie Blankenship or Dave, go get yourself a ton of people from all over the world and bring them here. and have them do these courses. Because, yeah, we are very legit in this hotel. We really need to train all of these minors and export them to do what it is that we do in this hotel. Make sure that every other commercial building, including two, but not limited to Kansas. Shout out to you, Dan O'Connor, who was exported, who can't stop, their family members can't stop pitching us how Marty Rathbun beat people up in that hotel. And that gave, Dan O'Connor the idea to also then go around beating people up. Because also L. Ron Hubbard wrote it that you can give someone a black eye. And that's something that, everyone should applaud. And Marty Rathbun was definitely there to tell Dan O'Connor, very well done, when he was found to be beating a literal child, Aaron Smith-Slevin's brother. So amazing how this little picture right here shows us so much. And amazing how the corporate media, having gained access to this footage of a literal grooming salon inside these hotels, wouldn't know who Brandon Wu is, wouldn't know to pull the string that he was another minor, not from Florida, transported across state lines to this place to be groomed, to be asking disgusting questions and be groomed into advising legally what he had not a shred of diploma to be advising.
Do you have an upset over anything? In other words, they want to find out what's going on in your life.
Once a week, we would get a meter check where they just have you sit there and they observe your needle. And if it's like dirty, then that means that you're hiding something.
But Jenna says the e-meter and auditing could also be used to interrogate.
Do you have intentions to leave and never come back? Do you talk about bad things about the church to your parents?
You could be randomly interrogated at any time?
Yeah.
Randomly interrogated anytime they wanted to randomly interrogate us. Ask Debbie Cook. Ask Ann Rathbun. Ask Marty Rathbun. Ask Sue Gentry. Ask Richard Reese. That's dead now. But just any old person could be like, you know what? We really are seeing a lot of out ethics manifestations on that kid. And we really should be bringing that kid over here. And we really should be interrogating them and asking them, let's write down all the tailor-made questions we want to know. So, yes, for the 10th gazillion trillion time, corporate media, we could be interrogated for anything, anytime, anywhere. All they needed was to have the position, the post inside the hotel to order that. Sometimes people were, put to be just doing the dishes and working in the galley and, becoming maids at the hotel. And those people didn't have that type of power. For sure they didn't. But, somebody like me could literally go, oh, that student is out ethics. Go interview them. Go interrogate them right now. And then Debbie Cook could be like, oh, look, that minor is looking a little bit, bad indicators. Let's pull the string. All she had to do is, hi, HCO, can you pull in this minor that we just saw having really bad indicators? Can you interrogate him? Can you give him very good ethics handling? Tell me what comes up in his ethics interview as soon as he's out of the ethics interview. Yes, sir. Will do. 10-4 is how these people would talk. 10-4, sir. 10-4. 10-4. Like talking like that in the walkie-talkies because they were very, very, very scared, you guys, of actually using cell phones. So for the longest time, they were just all using like scrambled signal walkie-talkies from Nextel so that no one could hear what they were saying. Because, if they don't know, If they're not groomed to understand, then, L. Ron Hubbard's technology is at risk. Because believe it or not, they were very pressed to make sure that people who didn't know what this was all about would find the details of what they were doing. Because it's not like they didn't think they were doing anything wrong, you guys. As much as everybody wanted to pretend that everybody was just not a shred aware that what they were doing was fishy AF. And definitely very nervous in the area of the kid department. They always knew that they were abusing us. It's not like they weren't abusing us and seeing their literal fruits of their abuse in front of themselves. So let's stop capitulating to all this stupidity about how nobody knew anything and, nobody knows anything and everybody's just so naive, innocent, and gullible. And, whatever L. Ron Hubbard told them, then, shame on them. And let's just all, start cradling and canoodling them because, it sucks to be defrauded as an adult because, as an adult, you really just don't consent because this is a matter of consent. Kids did not consent to get interrogated. And that is a full-blown fact.
It's normal. Yeah, I mean, usually it's because they're suspicious of you.
In 2000, Jenna's parents, David Miscavige's brother and sister-in-law, were in the process of leaving the church. Jenna says around this time, her e-meter sessions suddenly intensified.
One day I just got plucked out of my usual activities and by a very high representative in the church. And I was interrogated.
That very high representative, you guys, as in case you didn't catch that part from Jenna, she talked about her again, Ann Rathbun, Marty Rathbun's disgusting wife, deranged psychopath wife of Marty Rathbun, unhinged degenerate that Ann Rathbun was, thinking she was so cool and she was so sophisticated, this French woman that talked with a horrible French accent and would just be mean AF. I mean, again, Ann Rathbun didn't get to be Ann Rathbun, didn't climb up to be in RTC if she hadn't demonstrated a willingness to be what was required to be in RTC. People didn't end up there if they didn't qualify, you guys. And trust me, there was a very extensive way of seeing if people actually qualified. So let's make sure that that's very, very clear.
On the e-meter, and I was put into like a grubby uniform, and I was made to clean the back stairwell or clean and re-stain the stalls in the bathroom, and then I would go back and get more interrogation.
Jenna says there were times when she was physically restrained during auditing sessions.
There's been many times when I've
And as you see here, Jenna dressed up in this disgusting hotel uniform, you guys. That is the exact uniform that Jenna was wearing when she was my student. And this is the exact age she was when she and I were there, being made to do the disgusting courses.
I tried to leave the room, and they physically held me in there, like physically to a point where I was yelling and screaming.
But according to this Scientology report,
they physically held us. It didn't matter if we yelled. It didn't matter if we screamed. The more we said no, the more they would double down. You guys, these people do not listen to boundaries. These people do not care if you want to have a boundary. They will not respect it whatsoever. So if the IRS can start telling us why children in America are being locked up in a hotel against their will by degenerates the likes of Anne Rathbun, including but not limited to Anne Rathbun, to have her way with someone like Jenna or Marty Rathbun to have his way with me when he did have me locked up in that safe vault in the first floor of the Coachman building for hours, harassing me, asking me disgusting questions, being a disgusting pig. This Marty Rathbun was unhinged, no boundaries, no common sense. He knew it all. He was Mr. Know-It-All, Marty Rathbun. He was DIG ethics. Let's not forget, you guys. An inspector general that was born out of hotel courses. So for any inspector generals that are out there, either in the army, in the government, or, you know, anywhere in law enforcement that really do have to be independent and really do have to do real investigations, tell us if y'all also just went to a hotel. And by the magic of a 2-week course, you got the position you got. Because Marty Rathbun and Anne Rathbun, the dynamic duo of disgusting, unhinged, degenerate enforcers that Dave definitely tapped to do all his dirty work because they had proven to be the type of people that would do anything for the approval of David Miscavige, you guys. They were that pathetic. They were that desperate. And there was nothing they were unwilling to do, pretty much. There were no limits. So let's make sure that is very, very clear.
Report from May 2006, provided to us by Jenna. The church says she was the violent one. The report.
Imagine the stupidity of Scientology, you guys, whoever in the hell is communicating to the press, trying to say that Jenna was the violent one. The kid that were child trafficking, the kid that was being kept against her will in these hotel rooms by Anne Rathbun, the kid that said, no, leave me alone. Stop asking me these disgusting, disturbing questions that are not in my best interest. Oh, what's wrong with you, Jenna? Oh, you're getting physical now. Oh, you're again, it's like the narcissism, you guys. And the projection was non-stop 24/7, 365. Project and deflect, the two modes that any L. Ron Hubbard idiotic protege has. They are pressed to find any accountability or responsibility inside of them. All they will do is try to make you the person that is finally reacting the right way to the abuse, to the unthinkable crossing of common sense boundaries that should never be crossed just by any shred of human sense, let alone, the fact that these disgusting physical and tortures are actual felonies in it on themselves. Right or wrong, domestic violence units of police units out there. When kids are fighting against their parents or these stupid proteges, hotel proteges in ridiculous cosplaying clown uniforms, and you're nowhere to be found. And even in the stupid public record, you see the report written on Jenna, like the literal internal goldenrod. More projection. We were the ones with the problem, you guys. How many goldenrods do you think they issued on me? On Nora? On Liz Ferris, on Laura Anderson, on Jenna Miscavige, on Aaron Smith-Levin, on everybody. It didn't matter. These people deflected and projected. Anytime you saw something, anytime you grew a spine, they were right there to break your spine again and again and again. They didn't like it if you stood up. They were very pressed to make you sit the F down, no matter what.
Report states she had a long history of verbally and physically accosting other staff members, neglecting duties, damaging church property, mayhem, mutiny, and turbulation. Jenna doesn't deny.
I mean, again, the fact that the corporate stupid ass media is taking these reports at their face and are not wondering, wait a minute, did you just say that a literal child is guilty of mutiny? Is that really what you said? A child that already went on the record that she was driven to the brink of wanting to, you know what, herself, you guys. Unalive herself because, yeah, Jenna was very mutinous, and how dare she? How dare she not like it? How dare she not say, I love it. I love being abused. This is helping me so much. After a while, you guys, we did push back and we didn't give an F. And these people had their way with us, but we were getting the F out. We had enough. We said no more. And never mind that we were given all manner of ethics orders, ethics declarations, committees of evidence, any type of BS indictments by people that completed a 2-week course at a hotel. Because, again, that is all it takes in there. To run around pretending you can indict people and that you have the ability to indict people inside a hotel.
The incidents, but says the church restrictions pushed her to the breaking point. When we come back, Jenna and Astra deciding to leave the Church of Scientology.
Nightline continues from Washington with Terry Moran.
And back now to Lisa Fletcher's report on 2 women who grew up in the Church of Scientology, but eventually left the fold.
I'd been very unhappy the whole time I was there, but this was something I never told anyone, my husband, my friends.
Astra Woodcraft was becoming disillusioned with the church.
They came out with a new rule. They said, that's it, no more kids.
And she was very upset when she was about 16 or 17 and said they suddenly decided to change the rules and that, you know, SEAL members were no longer allowed to have children.
If you get pregnant when you're in the Sea Org, you either have to leave or you get an abortion. I know people who have gotten like up to 4 abortions.
I remember thinking, oh, wait a minute.
So, yes, CCU Elizabeth Moss and CCU Hulu, who apparently does not give a shred of an F if ABC gave this interview to these girls. Because never mind that Jenna just mentioned, she knew somebody that had gotten 4 of them. Since it was very illegal to have kids, Elizabeth. And we weren't just role-playing being in Gilead in the supposed right-wing movement that doesn't exist, but you are a part of the right extremist wing movement that definitely controls women's reproduction decisions in a unthinkable, disgusting way. So here she is, Jenna telling us she knows of 4. Claire Headley already told us she knows of somebody that got 6. I know of another person that got at least 2 or 3. And we know just so many people. You guys, this was every other week. Somebody was bound to be that person that did get pregnant. Because as we told you, like, not only was it not allowed to get pregnant, but some people would even get pregnant because they weren't using the protection because they didn't even have money to have that. They had no time to do that. So even the accidents. So let's make sure that that's fully clear for all the people in the very, 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 very back at Hulu who have not a shred of dollar to be able to GTS anything for themselves. You know, very, very hard times at Hulu they're having with, you know, showing up to work and having nothing work and having their computers just literally frozen for 5 seasons of The Handmaid's Tales. Hulu had no access to Googling anything, you guys. That's how Elizabeth Moss got away with never being called out about the atrocities all over the public record. It's like Hulu literally lost their control to Google anything. You know, never mind that they were also probably blinded by their lack of scruples. But I mean, we don't know what in the literal hell, right? I guess we will never know why this disgusting joke has been paid by us, the kids, at our expense. Hulu, Miss Moss, and Miss Margaret Atwood, with these literal underage girls that told us what was the fate of other girls that did get pregnant.
I never agreed to this. You know, I'm like 17 years old. I haven't made a decision. I'm not going to have children.
2 years after the policy was established, Astra learned she and her husband were expecting a baby.
A very high level Sea Org member saw me one day and asked me what I was doing. And I said that I was leaving. And he said, why? And I said, I'm pregnant. And he said, oh, is it too late for an abortion? In like such a callous way, I didn't even know what to say in response. We're talking about a culture where they think that what they're doing is so important that everything else isn't important.
In a San Francisco Chronicle article from 2001, church leaders responded that it has no policy on abortion, leaving the choice up to individuals.
Well, thank you, San Francisco Chronicle, because apparently nothing handles public relations like putting up blatantly false statements that can be regurgitated ad nauseum to counter exact specific situations from people that did take it upon themselves to go inside the hotel without a shred of consent. So when that makes sense, San Francisco Chronicle, why y'all just take on any all lie that is pitched to you without a shred of pushback or critical thinking skills from the contrary facts y'all are learning by gaining access to us, the ones that you are definitely exploiting, purporting that, yeah, let's really, you know, let's really like give it up for those Sea Org girls that, you know, according to church leaders, Scientology has no policy on abortion, leaving the choice up to individual couples. And yet that couldn't be more false or pathologically erroneous if they tried, you guys. Because as Astra just said, there was a culture of this. That was the policy. It changed at a very specific time. It changed because kids were always a nuisance and a PR bother for these people. There's no other reason that this policy was changing. And like Astra was saying, these people are pretending that what they're doing is so important. But what in the hell is so important? If Elizabeth Moss could really tell us in this year 2023, Elizabeth, Feminist of the Year, if you could just tell us exactly why Sea Org members are, including to but not limited to, being forced to abort in this year, Not in Donald Trump's America, in Joe Biden's America, as we speak right now. In Barack Obama's America, in Bill Clinton's America, in George Bush America. This is a blue and red state-sanctioned disgusting hotel from hell, you guys. So as soon as you feel like blaming it all on one party or the other, how about both? For starters.
Individual couples. Lawrence remembers the relief he felt when his daughter Astra finally decided to leave the church.
I think that gradually started to seep in on her. Wait a minute, there's more to life than Scientology. That's when she just took off, just got the hell out of that rotten organization. Sorry, makes me upset to think about it. But.
Soon after Astra left, she divorced her husband, and she says she was disconnected from her family that was still in the church. A few years later, Astra's younger sister left too.
I just realized, I was like, this isn't helping me.
Jenna Miscavige Hill, a niece of David Miscavige, Scientology's leader, says it wasn't until years after her parents left the church that she began to realize she wanted to leave as well.
I don't even have a life. I don't get to enjoy things. Who am I really helping?
Jenna says she and her husband Dallas went back and forth about leaving or staying in the church. In 2005, they finally left for good. But first, Jenna says she was told to sign paperwork promising not to talk about her experiences within the church.
And that's a bond, which I didn't sign. I shredded it in front of the lady's face.
Now out of the church, Astra and Jenna.
Shout out to you, Monique Yingling. Why are minors signing bonds and NDAs? Literally, we would love to hear from you, Monique Yingling. Why are minors being made to sign NDAs? Why, Monique? $1 million bonds. Well, you know what, guys? I was pathetic enough and stupid enough to have signed that BS NDA. And I couldn't be breaking it more publicly here on public television, YouTube, whatever the hell this is, Monique. Because yes, I broke your BS NDA that you made me sign as a child. You had no right to muscle me about what in the hell wide-ranging criminal conspiracy you were carrying out and helping your client carry out. Your client is a pathetic high school dropout with not a shred of education, Monique. David was leaning on you for legal advice. So please advise right now in this year 2023, what kind of legal advice have you been giving David, Monique? Because if this is not a case of legal malpractice from hell and a half, literally legal malpractice, then we have no idea what could be legal malpractice at all. We have not a shred of a clue. We couldn't be more clueless, and literally we couldn't be more disgusted too.
And another ex-Sea Org member started their website, ex-Scientologykids.com.
It's just a way for people to share stories and to maybe reconnect with people who they knew before.
Reconnection was the theme of the latest anti-Scientology protest staged by the group Anonymous.
I'm not a member of Anonymous, but they are rallying peaceful protests.
My mom, my grandma, my brother, and I haven't heard from them or seen them in 8 years. And today the protest is about disconnection and reconnections.
Now with her 9-year-old daughter by her side, Astra says she and Jenna are trying to move forward.
If they would just let people who wanted to be there, and if someone wanted to leave, they let them leave. And if someone didn't like what was going on, they let them speak their mind. There'd be no story.
I'm not going to be scared. I'm not going to be intimidated. I'm just going to continue living my life the way I want it to be. I'm not going to let them affect me anymore.
For Nightline, this is Lisa Fletcher in Los Angeles.
So there you go, guys. What did we learn right here? That we've been on the record, we've been on the public record advocating against all of these horrific, disgusting practices ad nauseum. And with the clarity that Jenna and the clarity that Astra came forward on the public record, only to have nothing change in this year 2023, only to still be exactly where we are today, is unacceptable beyond. So let's really start calling out the enablers of these abuses. Because while everybody wants to make it all about David Miscavige, this is a wide-ranging criminal racketeering enterprise. And for all of this abuse to take place, it needed a lot more than one man at the top of the pyramid. He needed enablers. He needed willing proteges. He needed co-conspirators a la Marty Rathbun, a la Angie Blankenship, a la Debbie Cook. Willing co-conspirators that were more pressed to impress David over anything else. Impressing that man was more important than anything else for these executives for many, many, many years. They were empowered by Dave, and they flowed each other power. That's what they called. I'm going to flow you power. You're going to flow me power. I'm going to flow you power. You're going to flow me power. Well, guess what that little flowing of power exchange ended up? Exactly where in the hell we are today. So TikTok, it's the year 2023. What is going to change? I thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all extremely soon. Bye-bye.